Hello, Money Queens and listeners. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions. Let's meet the women behind the millionaires, the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, bestselling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, money queens and ladies. Welcome back to Women Behind the Millions, our new season, season 5. Can you believe it? This season is going to be titled Illuminate Your Legacy. And I'm going to ask all of you ladies listening, watching our show to think about your legacy, and not just your legacy when it comes to your wealth, your assets, your money, but also your morals, your values, your health legacy. Talking about the lessons, your experience, your give back. And if we could make this pact to just become a little bit more intentional with the impact that we make on this world. And you make an impact every single day. You make an impact, whether it's with your kids or at work, with your parents. Women, we give so much. So how can we use it and to fuel our legacy? So many times when we see from an inheritance of a client passing down wealth to their children and their grandchildren, and the statistics are not good. Where about 70-80% of wealth is lost from one generation to the next. By the third generation, it's about 90%. So how can we fix that? And we're going to go into looking at your legacy in every aspect of your life. It's going to be an amazing journey this season. And you know me, we always start with a quote. So here we have one from our new book, Illuminate Your Legacy, here at Pink Fix Productions. Write the vision and make it plain. This is coming from the lead author of the book, Illuminate Your Legacy, Veronica Rodgers. She quotes, and I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm going to wait until she's on to say it properly for it. And I always think back to, when you don't plan out your life, when you don't plan out your legacy, you end up living somebody else's life. And you're chasing things that you don't really care about. You're chasing somebody else's version of success, of wealth, of their legacy. But especially when you think of your legacy, when you don't plan it, and not just plan it, but put it into action, make it legal, have it translate to the money, translate to your wealth, your health, all of those aspects, right? It can be eroded very quickly. It can be misinterpreted. And the last thing that we want to do is leave our loved ones with questions, not feeling validated for the love that you shared for that relationship, right? You don't want them left behind with a burden. You'd rather leave that next generation in a better place if we're no longer here. I always think back to my own legacy. Obviously, at the Wealth Boutique, we talk about insurance all the time. But for me to have life insurance, the reason is because if I'm not here, I'm going to get emotional thinking about this, and my daughter's out to buy her wedding dress, I want there to be money for her to be able to buy her wedding dress, and that be a gift for me. Or for them to go to college, and that'd be a gift for me. Or to spoil my grandkids, even if I'm not here, and it'd be a gift for me. And for them to remember that mom cared so much as she thought about these little things decades later, years later in my life. So I'm so grateful that we have at the Wealth Boutique someone who is so passionate about making this impact in the world. Let me tell you about her. She is an incredible woman, Veronica Rodgers. She's a 2-time best-selling Amazon author. She's a Lisa Nichols certified transformational trainer and a financial educator and advisor for over 20 years of experience in the financial industry. She's a devoted advocate for personal growth and transformation. Veronica brings her dual expertise as a financial advisor and transformational trainer to create meaningful impact in the lives of her clients and readers. And we're going to get into why she is so passionate about this. But let's bring her on stage. Hello, Veronica Rodgers. How are you tonight?
I am great. How are you, Jessica?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here with us, spending time and taking on this project, this big, not just a project, like this mission, this movement of getting people to wake up and live their legacy every single day.
Yes, yes, thank
Where
you.
did this passion come from, Veronica?
Well, ultimately, the passion came from personal experience.
Mm.
So, thank you so much for reading my bio. Everyone was able to hear that I've been in the industry for more than 20 years. And I would like to say I was probably doing things a little robotically, talking about the general a la carte items that most people think about when it comes to wealth,
Mm.
investments, life insurance, and trying to, they at least think if they have it, then it's done. And that's all that we need to discuss. However, when I personally began to lose family members and friends, closest one being my father and my mother-in-law, and realizing that, uh-oh, not everything was done correctly. We missed opportunities to pass things along to the next generation, and I know from conversations that that was not the goal. So to feel that extra grief on top of processing the loss of my family members, that their goals, dreams, and wishes were not properly executed for many different reasons. Then I realized, okay, if it happened to me and I'm in the field and I have access to resources, what's happening across, of so many other households who may say, I'd never thought about it. I don't have those resources. I'm not sure where to go. So from there, the passion derived, and I'm like, okay, we've got to do better talking about this part of our wealth.
And you have a huge point talking about it, being vocal about it. And you see from generation to generation that changes. But there's some generations and cultures, it's not normal to talk about it. You don't even know what to say about it, how to get the conversation going. I know we're gonna get into it too, and you talk about the robotics of life, the robotics at work, that happens, right? Instead of challenging the parent or finding a way to communicate. You had an amazing talk presentation at one of our events 2 years ago, being almost that mediator, like, approaching it from both sides, right? Your aging parents and you, and that dynamic. What would you recommend to people that really are they're the sandwich generation? They got their parents and their kids, or maybe great-grandparents or grandparents and the grandchildren, club sandwich. What would you say to them?
Two things.
Mm.
One, remember that everything that is said and done is with love. Approach every conversation, every hurdle, every wall with love in order to remember that ultimately there's a shared goal for the family. So be willing to relax and breathe
Yeah.
and respect everyone with love when you're having these conversations. And that leads into the second point of just pack your patience. Just when having these
Bring
conversations,
vacations with you, I'm sure.
please, 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 please know when to say, okay, time out,
Mm.
wait. Use clarifying questions such as, so I heard you say, or just to be clear, were you making this point and so on, as opposed to making assumptions and things getting lost in translation. So both sides have to bring that, to the table if and when they're willing to have these conversations, because they're not easy. They're And some people feel like they don't necessarily need to have these conversations, especially the older generation,
Mhm.
because their thought is, okay, I've said this, I've done that, it's mine
Yes.
initially, as opposed to looking at the bigger picture of it all and what type of love, values, and memories you're trying to pass along to the next.
Oh, sure. So it sounds like it might be multiple conversations. It probably will be multiple
Sure.
conversations. And
Absolutely.
we know, I just know even with my husband, I need to plant the seed, let it sit for a few months, marinate on it, and then come back to it as well, being
Yeah.
open-minded going into it. Because the last thing you want is people to get defensive. Why they get
Right.
they don't wanna feel criticized or judged or maybe ashamed that they didn't save enough or that they didn't plan. Um, and what would you say if all of a sudden they're getting defensive, the walls are going up? What would you do, Veronica?
Well, I would first say I always say thank you to the person for sharing. So that's another
Mm,
tidbit in the sense of
yeah.
just remember for both sides, thank you for allowing me to hear your point of view.
Ooh, I like
Because that gives them, the respect and adds shows them that you value where they're coming from. Jessica, recently I've been having many conversations with couples
mhm,
who are realizing, "Uh-oh, I need to get my stuff together."
mhm.
We may be have had health experiences, and you can just they're feeling the mortality, right? But they'll come to me and say, "Well, I don't have much." And at the end of the day, I'm like, "You still have what you have, and it's special and important to you." So realize that because of that value, you will be able to manage it in a way where others can respect it. And then you show them that you respect what you've done in this life. They're going to respect it as well, especially if they hear the stories, the effort, like they know the history to get there. So,
Oh, I love that. To give yourself that respect and respect what you've built, no matter how big or small. Respect you've worked hard to get to that point, and I would guess the more you respect it, the more it's gonna grow too.
absolutely.
The more attention you're gonna put onto it, the more you're gonna get educated working with people like Veronica. I'm
Absolutely.
for it as well. That is beautiful. I kept thinking as I was reading your introduction to Illuminate Your Legacy, if you don't plan, you plan to fail, right? We hear that time and time again. And you spoke about, losing very close people to you, your mother-in-law and your father, and missed opportunities as
Mhm.
well. You go into your chapter about the illusion of preparation and the difference between building a life and planning for what happens when you're no longer here. What is that difference? What's the disconnect people are missing?
That feelings are involved.
Ah, it's big.
It's not just about, well, what can I leave behind in a monetary value, right?
Mhm.
We attach feelings to the people we love. That's why they're called relationships. And when you transition, those that are here physically still alive, we still have to figure out a way to now navigate through the process and the story of the end of your life.
Mhm.
How did that impact me?
Mm.
Oftentimes I've heard people say, "Well, I'm not gonna be here anymore, so not it really doesn't matter." But that's not true because, again, approaching everything with love, you love at least one person. That person, I'm gonna make the assumption, it's okay to make this assumption, that they love you back in return. Ask yourself, when it's your time, how do you want that person to process the fact that you're no longer here? Do you wanna keep them in grief longer than they need to be? Or do you want to show how much love that you actually have for them in a way to set things up so that they don't have to stay in the business of handling your affairs and that they can actually just be with the memories that you've left behind?
Mhm. Yeah, and even a A simple estate through probation can be 1 to 2 years, a simple one. Then you add not planning, there's no will, right, the complexities of it, real estate, and it can get dragged on and dragged on, and you're right, that takes you away from being in the moment to properly saved, and you've experienced that, right, Alessandra? Over the last 2 years. So you're speaking from your heart here.
Correct. Very much so. I don't wanna give too much away from the book, but I am able to delve into that impact of the fact that if it prolongs because I've had to handle processing the grief of a loved one no longer being with me, what type of impact does that really have on my mental health, my relationships, my productivity? Like, it's just all the things
Oh, sure.
are connected, and it's a domino effect if not done properly.
Yes. Yes, and you've made it your life mission. I mean, talk about early in your career going to the robotics. You've switched, made a huge change, launched your own firm, Chameleon Wealth, joined here us here at the Wealth Boutique. How do you take this into your day-to-day work at Carnelian Wealth?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, every morning I wake up and if I'll be able to share with everybody. I'm okay with saying this. I'm a mother of two young girls. So if I'm have if I'm fortunate enough to have that space where I've carved out time to be with myself, I always sit and make sure that I regroup for the day in order to prepare and then ask God to help me add value to at least one person's life.
I like that prayer. That's powerful.
I have to
Mhm,
because I truly believe the things that I've experienced
mhm.
were not meant to be put for better use and add value and service to other people. Like, I'm not a woe is me individual. I know that the pain, the suffering, the lessons learned, now it's my responsibility to pass them along and help at least one other person as much as possible each day do better in their life.
Yes. That is very powerful, Veronica. And you put yourself in a position, being a thought leader, taking on this movement, the book. We have this whole season dedicated to the Illuminate Your Legacy as well. That's huge. You wouldn't be able to do that if you were stuck in the robotics of life.
Not at all. I would be living someone else's agenda, not living in my purpose. And so even though I have many scrapes and bruises that have healed, I'm grateful for them.
Yeah. I mean, just seeing your own transformation and now you're a transformation coach is it blows my mind, and you've been helping so many people with their estates and their documents. I've been seeing you, and that little prayer of "Help me transform, help me change one person's life today," that makes a big difference, and the ripple effect, and I always believe, right, the energy, the love that you're putting out always comes back to you, and it's just that cycle of it. It's incredible. How about the erosion of wealth, right? You work with clients to help protect. We see the erosion of wealth. What are the big things that will erode somebody's money while they're living? Let's start there.
Oh, while they're living,
Mhm.
not remembering their values.
Oh my gosh. That was, I don't know if that was like a trigger for me or whatnot, but that is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see people getting caught up, swept up. I'll share a quick story, and this is a couple, my father, who's been an advisor for 40 years, I remember him working with them, and I was helping assist with them, and I'm seeing, like, their account just, like, dwindling and dwindling. What happened was, Veronica, they moved to a retirement community, I wanna say in Florida. And they got caught up in these fast-paced people who were going out every night to concerts, shows, and he was getting a new car each year, and the loop payments, they were going up and up to, like, $1,500, $2,000 a month, and they had to check themselves at one point, and you're right, they completely lost sight. They both came from separate marriages where they lost, they're both widows, right? This was their time together, and, they got caught up in the material side, and they had to move. They had to move because it was
Um,
not a good environment for them. That is so true. Like,
it's
you're back.
if we don't keep that in the forefront,
Mm,
to your point, it is so easy to get caught up in all the glitz and glamour of the things that are presented in life. Like whether you have a good cushion to work with or not. I
mm,
met with a beautiful woman last week or the week before.
mhm,
She We were talking about her finances and she said, "Well, I'm retired and I'm thinking about refinancing my home so that way I can pay off my bills." And with all due respect, I'm like, sometimes it makes sense
mhm.
if you have a long runway to work with later.
Sure.
But your time frame is not that long because she was a mature, beautiful woman. She in her 80s. I'm like, no, we are just going to focus on remembering that we want to work on paying down our bills, but keep what you have. Don't get caught up in the commercials all the time. Even though it sounds great, is that really what you want?
Mm,
Is that really what let's do a check-in, let's go within. So we did a centering exercise and talked about it even more in her, 'cause we were in her home, very comfortable space, and just ultimately she realized like, "Oh, hell, that's not the best direction for me to go at this time in life." Again, if it works, but let's make sure it's the right thing for you to do. So, remembering what the goals are that you really want to achieve and your values, that matters.
yeah, and to communicate it, I would say too, right? With your spouse, your partner, if you're in a relationship, because they might be on a different wavelength. Or I've noticed, how about you, Veronica? Different time frames. One spouse might be super short term focused and one might be long term focused. And they're like, they're just missing each other
I'm
completely.
I'm working I have a client in that current situation, and
Yeah.
every time when we get to, because I make sure to meet with both wife and husband, and I'm so blessed that they are willing to work together in that capacity. But when we get to those time frame discussions, you can feel the tension, you can feel things shift. And again, I always have to say, okay, one, let's remember that it's okay to have difference of opinion. And
Mhm.
I'm here to help you all figure out how to meet in the middle so that both are able to walk away happy as much as possible.
Yeah. You're like the interior decorator. He wants it all dark and she wants light and airy, or he wants traditional, she wants modern. Like, okay, how do we combine both elements?
You can
Beauty.
compromise.
We can compromise. Yes. I'm gonna throw some other things at you that I've noticed. How about obviously a lack of a plan, right? For an erosion of wealth, not having a path or direction to go in, and it's becomes very chaotic very quickly. Money
Very.
coming in and it's going out all the different places, we don't even know where. It's easy too for with technology. We got Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, Amazon. It's going on so many different directions. You can even track your money efficiently in today's society.
Yeah. Yeah. Lack of a plan. So back to family.
Mm.
I just had this experience this past December. Long story short, unfortunately, a family member did not share that he was suffering from cancer. So when we realized that it was terminal, it was at the end. But unfortunately, he put himself in that rush job, like that rush space because the plan wasn't completed. We had
Yeah.
life insurance, we had IRAs,
Mhm.
and for those who may not know, for those type of solutions, you are able to name beneficiaries
Mhm.
for them, so they're designated. Then while he was in the hospital, he was suffering from a 102-degree fever for the entire time he was in the hospital, put together a will with a lawyer who said that the beneficiaries of the will and the IRA, they need to go, well, those proceeds, excuse me, not the beneficiaries, the proceeds from those solutions were to go into a trust for other beneficiaries. And so I'm like, wait, we're doing things that didn't necessarily need to be done. Was this the right way? So, long story short, the IRA and the life insurance policies were not changed to reflect the will in time. So now we're going to have conflicting
Oh gosh.
instructions
Yes.
during probate, which then impacts the beneficiaries from both sides because one side is saying, "Well, I thought I was going to inherit." The other side is, "I thought I was going to inherit." And I'm like, "Ooh, this person was not my client." Again, a family member, but I wish I had been able to reach, and provide the education in time enough to say, one, because we didn't have the plan in place before the health event, now we're scrambling and running around, and now we your wishes may not be carried out exactly how you wanted it
Mhm.
because it wasn't tended to beforehand. So it can happen and it can cause confusion and then more heartbreak and grief that could have been avoided.
Oh, sure. Families fighting, and I have to guess that he paid for the attorney to
Correct.
do that work, and it's not reflected. And like you said, now one person hears this, the other person hears that, and now they're going to be upset with each other, even though, right? And so the erosion of wealth, when you lack a plan, the erosion is going to be a lack of options
Yes.
and the lack of time to get things done. It's
Yes.
really going to shrink, and that's the last thing that you would want, right? You know, we wanna feel abundant and that there are options, and I feel like when there's options, you can breathe
You
versus
can breathe
desperate.
and you can feel good about the fact that you got this accomplished. It's done, it's laid out. My wishes are my wishes. Feel free to communicate however you want. You may not, because I've also had those conversations where some people are like, they'll find out afterwards. I help them weigh the pros and cons of with that strategy and approach, but not having a plan is going to I just I personally don't see an upside to that ever.
Yes. And there's a ripple of and then you think of taxes erode money, medical expenses with long-term care, not properly planning for that erodes money, right? It all stems from that central hub of having your stuff together and having direction and options and being proactively versus preventing, right? Or being retroactive. Let's be proactive in these pieces. Um, Talking about costs of avoidance. Avoiding your money, there's a huge cost that comes with it as well. Well, talk to me, Veronica, about the title Illuminate Your Legacy. Let's shift into the book now. Yeah, we've heard, you have this amazing expertise on legacy. Where did the title Illuminate Your Legacy come from?
Oh, yes. Wow. Well, when receiving this wonderful opportunity to talk about something that most people find not, it's not a great topic, like shy away from it or avoid it. I said, okay, how can we approach this where it will be eye catching and bring some type of joy in order to visualize
Mhm.
that putting a plan together is a bright thing. It's the right thing to do. So,
Yes.
illuminating your legacy, it's like at the end of the day, again, regardless of whether it's big or small, it has so much value. and it can be approached not just with the money. We're also talking about the memories that you have created with your loved ones, the values that you pass down to your children. There are so many things in life that, encompass our life that allows people to know, shine bright wherever you can. Now I'm hearing Rihanna song in my shine bright like
Love it. We'll give a big shout out to Rihanna for getting us on the right path.
right.
For true. Yes, when I heard the title, I felt in 2 ways. One, illuminate, I think, highlight, right? So making it a priority, making it your focus. But then I also think of, you hear all throughout the Bible too, being asked to shine. Don't dim your light. Don't hide your light under a table. Allow your light to be shined and shown where everybody can see. Where can you make the biggest impact in this world? So I love to first sit on both of those sides of it, making it your focus, making your impact your focus, right? And allowing it to be as big and bold as possible.
Exactly. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, all of us have a story.
Mm.
All of us are important. Everything we do will impact somebody. So
Wow.
just put it in the forefront of your brain, in your mind, in your heart to do the right things.
Yes. What kind of impact are you having? You're already having one. It's just like you already have a legacy. You already have an estate. How do you want it to show up each day, and how do you want it to be remembered as well? What are you looking forward to most this season of Women Behind the Million, seeing each of these featured authors of Illuminate Your Legacy?
I'm looking forward to just the audience reacting to seeing and hearing
Mhm.
different ways to approach a legacy. Again, we are talking about money a lot, but what I was saying to the authors when we first began our collaboration, I'm so excited for this. It's not just about the wealth. Like what's your purpose? What's your what drives you? Again, the values, the memories, all the things can be highlighted in order to show your impact on your network, your circle, your friends and family. It can be viewed in so many ways that, to your point, we all have it and need to think about it from different avenues and different perspectives. So I'm excited to just hear how all the women have approached their topics, their what they're bringing to the table in regards to their different industries, and how it just shows up in every area of life.
And you really are making an impact because even Dr. Anne Marie, I just recorded her show, and she started to reframe everything she does as your health legacy. She's like, "I never thought of it before Veronica mentioned our own legacies, and your health is a huge legacy for so many different factors." Here's one, right? Just to feel good and healthy and strong and vibrant each day changes how you show up, which changes your wealth, which changes your relationships, right? But it also is when we don't feel healthy, when we don't take care of our health, we need higher medical expenses, long-term care expenses that erode your wealth, which is beautiful because then we have Alicia Barnett, who focuses on long-term care strategies for families, for couples, individuals, and retirement. And then we have Lily with her state-of-the-art technology, the most innovative technology utilizing AI so you can get a very predictable, accurate projection of what your long term care could look like. And shameless plug, we use this technology at the Wealth Boutique. We found it extremely helpful so people can actually see what it looks like. It can feel very like high sky. Um,
Like, you can't touch it. It's just so hard to see. That helps bring it down and make it reality.
yes, exactly. Exactly, and I have to say, Dr. Emery, I'm just gonna give a little can I give a little sneak peek of her episode because this I've already started to implement it. She gave this little example, and this shows how amazing she is. This little example of when she starts working with a client, she'll have them, it could be on Zoom, have a meal together, okay? And she's going to count, she goes, "Count how many chews until you swallow." And she'll do about 25 chews to that person's 3 to 5 chews. And that completely changes how you digest. And that blew my mind. So last night I'm sitting there and especially dinner, I'm tired, I'm starving, right? You're just gotta get through, you're shoveling it in. I'm like, I need to slow down. So that's gonna change how much you intake, what you fill up on, and actually just being a moment with your food instead of it just being something to rush through, which I did just do that. I did just rush through a PB&J before this. I thought that was amazing, Veronica, that little bit. Um, and Agita, we did her interview too. They're gonna be together next week on the show. So hopefully everybody's gonna stay tuned for them. She asked this powerful question, and then she encourages the readers in her chapter 2, right, to close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and really go inward and see, is there a piece of me that I'm not allowing to shine? Is there a higher power within me? And going back to our earlier conversation, Veronica, with the robotics, when we're stuck in the robotics, right, there's a piece of us that is begging, asking us to show up and choose me, right? To choose yourself over the mundane, over the day to day, over, right, I guess what we feel comfortable in, right? To really push us. So I cannot wait for this season. I mean, those two little teasers. Right now, how about the book proceeds of Illuminate Your Legacy? You have chosen an incredible place for all book proceeds to be donated to. Should we give them a little plug right here?
Oh, sure. Gotta cut that one out.
Yeah. Clap.
Tell you more.
Okay. Ready? How about the book proceeds for Illuminate Your Legacy? Can you tell us you picked an amazing place to donate all the book proceeds for? Where is this money going to be going to?
Yes, so the money is going to the Senior Connections, and it is based out of Richmond, Virginia, and they have wonderful resources to help people, um, find information all about the cut. Real quick, Virginia Navigator, they weren't good. I'm trying to get Senior Connections. It hasn't been
Oh,
sent.
so we don't need to
They're
go.
okay, fantastic. Sorry. I'll tell you more about that. It's been interesting. But
Oh,
yeah,
isn't it amazing? You trying to give people money?
she turned me down.
What?
She said her bandwidth was too much, and I'm like, "I'm trying to give you money." Okay.
All right. What is your goal with this book, Illuminate Your Legacy, and getting it out there, Veronica?
The overall goal is to have everyone slow down and realize that they will leave an impact on their loved ones, regardless of where they are in life.
Yeah.
You will have an impact. So make sure you have autonomy over your wishes,
Mhm.
your dreams. Make sure you can find a way to achieve your goals. And the only way to do that is to come up with a plan and be wonderfully happy with what you have put on paper, the memories that you have left behind, the connections that you have made, and the impact that you've had on this world.
That's beautiful. Beautiful, Veronica. So nice. And it's gonna make a big change. Before we started to jump on here, we were talking one-on-one about, we talk about generations and cultures. And you put in your chapter about some statistics where, yes, in some cultures it's going up, people who are actually getting the legal documents, the estate documents, trusts, wills, power of attorneys. But in other cultures, it's on the decline. For Hispanics, it was on the decline by 21%.
Yes.
So I'm hoping by approaching the topic in such a heart-led way, and with it was a very diverse book, people from different generations, different cultures, different parts of the country even, backgrounds, all sharing their own stories of, like, Lily, she experienced it with her Alzheimer's with her grandmother, I believe, and that's what pushed her into finding a better way for people to prepare financially for it, as well, how to communicate it. We have you, we have people thinking about their health, or it gets up people leaving in their purpose as well. So hopefully that helps really change. It's not this formal, stuffy, faux pas conversation anymore. Not with
Not at
at
all.
least.
Not at all. Exactly. Not at all. It's nothing to shy about. It, it's something to always have compassion over from both sides, whomever's involved. And it is something to recognize that it doesn't matter where you come from, your walk of life, any decisions you've made, essentially, you are going to have a legacy. So make sure it is the way you want it to be.
Ooh, powerful. Powerful, Veronica. It was beautiful. We are going to take a quick break and then we're going to be back here with Veronica to ask her a few more questions on our season premiere of Women Behind the Millions. Get ready, ladies, for an unforgettable night of empowerment, celebration, and community. Join us for the 4th annual Pink Fix Gala on May 14th and 15th here in New Jersey. Experience the magic of bringing together visionary women, leaders, and change makers in an evening dedicated to growth, connection, and leaving an impact. From powerful keynote speakers to exquisite dynamic dancing, the Pink Fix Gala is your chance to celebrate your journey and be inspired by others. Don't miss your opportunity to be a part of this life-changing event. Tickets are now on sale, and all ticket sales go towards our Financial Trendsetters Scholarship Award. Visit pinkfixproductions.com to get your tickets today. We can't wait to see you there. All right. I know. Looking at that makes us want to go dance again, right, Veronica?
Exactly.
Act on the dance floor. We are back here with Veronica Rodgers, lead author of our newest book at Pink Fix Productions, Illuminate Your Legacy. And as we're closing out our time together tonight, and it has flown by, you talk about legacy being a daily practice. So, what are some tips you can give the women tonight on what they can do each day for their legacy, to illuminate their legacy?
Absolutely. Tip number one, do everything with love.
Ooh, wow, that's a good check in.
We're in a world where there's a lot of going on. Just recognize at the end of the day, the best way to center yourself is to connect, go within, connect with your heart, and lead with love.
Mhm.
Secondly, make sure you have that communication with your friends and family members. Um, at the end of the day, leaving people with wishes, what a or the should we have done this? Should we have done that? Questions like that can help people if they are answered in advance.
Mhm.
Just be able to have the space they need to always remember the impact that you've had on them, the positive impact that you've had on them. And then finally, try your best to approach everything with how can I help someone today?
Mm.
How can I add value? How can I just be that beacon of light? Because we need it. We need it in this
We
time.
need it. We do need it. That centering prayer that you say every morning, right? God, show me how I can make change in somebody's life, and that change, that little bit of inspiration, to inspire action. That's why I love books. I love storytelling because to me, the storytelling is that inspiration. And without that inspiration, think of how many lives wouldn't be changed, wouldn't be impacted. So I really commend you, Veronica, and I thank you and all the authors of Illuminate Your Legacy for being, as Brene Brown says, brave enough, courageous enough to be vulnerable, to share your stories, to really put your heart out on the pages to inspire that action as well. Are there any trends that you're noticing? Do you see the legacy planning, estate planning changing? Where do you see it going?
I do see people are more willing to have a conversation.
Good.
They are more open to say, "Okay, let me raise my hand and ask for help."
Mhm.
And that alone is going to change the course for so many families and be able to begin to set a better precedent amongst who's here now and
Mhm.
pass it along for the next generations of their families. So the trend that I am seeing more and more people, especially women, say, "Hey, I know this wasn't done beforehand. Can you please help me get this completed for me and mine that are coming along?" So,
Yes.
which makes me feel amazing.
Yeah, that is great to hear. How about women business owners, right? We see so many women a lot leaving the corporate world, launching their own business. We just are coming off of our season Beyond the Broker, which is women leaving those teams, the corporations, the wirehouses to launch their own financial firm, their own independence. We see that happening, doesn't matter what industry. We see it
Right.
happening. How important is it for a woman business owner to think about her legacy at work?
Oh, it's huge, huge. We're in the space now where we really do know we have the ability to stand in leadership, create businesses, and leave an impact regardless of the industry that we're in. So it is so important for all of us, especially that are business owners, to put the plans in place to make sure that all of our work, all of our, hard work and efforts continue out the way we want them to be, whether it's succession planning for someone else or we're, being able to gift to charities and so forth. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that we see it through, and that is why it's so important for women business owners to just be able to
Mhm.
take the reins, stay in control.
Yes. Yeah, well, there's financial I always thought too, my goal part of the goal also with, the books, the TV show, the blogs is that if I'm no longer here, somebody can take what we've started and keep running with it, right? That your momentum doesn't have to halt because you are disabled or you pass away, that it can keep going and flourishing or inspire somebody to just keep it going. For you too. Just beautiful. So thank you for touching on that. I think that's a really important thing. Not something we want to think about as business owners and we get so caught up in the day to day,
Right.
but it's vital, especially if you have clients, you have customers, you have services that you offer. Um, and you might start to get that question asked more, and you should be asked more. As this topic comes up that the clients are going to be asking you. All right, Veronica. Well, we have one more question for you.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
I am a woman behind the millions who is so willing to be transparent
I like
and to wear my heart on my sleeve to help people avoid any mistakes possible in order to achieve their goals.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it that you are willing, more than willing. You are ready and you have done it. Ever since really you've just blossomed and come out and just to be your authentic self and to be able to care about this so much and for it to show in your work and to put yourself in a place where you can do that is huge. So I encourage you all, if you feel like you're in an environment where you can't be your authentic self, that you can't focus on your purpose, it might be time do some soul searching, which is perfect segue into our next episode with the Gita. Well, thank you so much, Veronica, for being here with us. Where can everybody find you?
Oh, yes. You can find me at Carnelian, that's CarnelianWS.com. Same on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Veronica J. Rodgers.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Veronica. And the book at pinkfixproductions.com. You'll be able to grab it. Cannot wait to get this book out there to the masses. So thank you, Veronica. We can't wait to see you all on our next episode next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will see you there, Money Queens.
Bye.
Hey, Money Queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at pinkfixmymoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money tips.